What's going on, folks? This is Brandon Main at Blue Collar Taxidermy. I've got a new tripod here. I'm gonna try to do my first video on it. We're gonna go over today epoxy sculpt around the eyes and, when it's drying and how it's getting done. After you mount the deer with all your clay work around the eyes, the tear ducts, the nostrils, where we stick the bags in there all the time, you can kind of see it's kind of hollowed out now. That's what it looks like without the rebuilt of it. But you see kind of these creases in the eyes right here. That's where we tuck in the tear ducts. The deer, they have a tear duct where their glands and stuff can push out and go back in. So we push that in, and then where the eyes will start to dry, that skin will pull away just a little bit. Like as you mount it, the first 2 or 3 days, you're really checking on it. You're going back and pushing it because it'll want to pull away from the burrs, or it want to pull away from the eyes just a little bit. Not bad, but what you want to do on any little gaps you have, you want to go back through here, and we're going to fill this with epoxy sculpt. We've cleaned out the eye real good. I like to really get in there and bash that clay up, just because that clay over time will crack, you know. So if there's any loose clay right there, I just really go in there and knock it out. But you can kind of see the nostril, how it's empty. I'm just going to do the eyes right now because it takes a little bit, and then I'll do the nose in the next one. But I hope you can see that eye pretty good. And I'm going to have to move it about right here to be able to get to it. So what we're taking here is Magic Sculpt. That's what I use for eyes. And it's a two-part. You got your hardener and then your color. And what you want to do is you do equal parts, and you want to mix it up really well. And just till all the colors real smooth. I probably just should have had some mixed up for time purposes here. These are two of my favorite modeling tools for doing taxidermy. I like this one right here with the little skinny tip because I could really get in there. And this one's kind of like for pushing and sculpting with the little rounded end on the end. What I want to do is I'm going to get this all worked up really good, mixed up. And I'm just going to make me a little small little piece where I'm going to keep spinning it to where it just fits in that little slot. And the smaller the slot, the smaller slot, the better for your eyes. You definitely want to keep them pushed up. And sometimes they'll pull away from others more than and not. If the temperatures change a little bit in the shop or something like that, or if I didn't get enough glue in one spot, or if I didn't scratch it up enough, it just happens. It's really not a big deal because we go back and go through them real well. Finish work is a big, important part of your deer. And you can't do it right away. If you do it right away, it'll make your epoxy crack because that skin will still pull just a little bit, just enough to let it crack. So it's good to let your deer dry out a couple of weeks to make sure it's all the way dry. What I'm doing now is I'm just going in and I'm pushing that epoxy sculpt in as hard as I can into the slots. I don't know. It seems like it's so far away. I don't know. We'll have to see it when it's done. But what I'm doing here is I'm just pushing this epoxy down in that little bitty slot. It's not a big slot, so you got to kind of get it in there. And what this will do too, it'll keep any gaps or cracks. A lot of these old deer mounts, you always see the eyes always cracked up and the nose is cracked. It just wasn't treated as well. The hides probably weren't prepped as well. Just different glues, different time. But nowadays, with all the stuff that we have, it's a lot better. And we have a lot more information to know how to do it right. But I just like to really work it in there. I'm pushing it in there really well, just kind of getting an overall shape of what it's going to be like in there. Oh man, we're already at 5 minutes. I guess this will be like a video. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff, so y'all just bear with me I want to post a lot of stuff about taxidermy if I can, and kind of show people that want to know how to do it, and what's the differences, and kind of answer some of the questions out there that people have about taxidermy. Because us taxidermists, I'm not, but most of us are kind of tight-lipped, because they don't want you knowing what they know. I don't know why, but it is. Taxidermists are usually they like to they'll tell you just enough stuff to get you interested or hooked or whatever, but then they'll keep all the real stuff close to themselves. Kind of like pastors, Just kidding. Kind of. Now that I've got that smoothed in, I do a black base around here, and I'll kind of just go around and carve that off. But I do a black base around here, and I'll mush it in real well. And then I'll take my smaller tool and I'll kind of just rake that eye out to where it just barely peels off why is that not coming? Okay, it just barely peels off a little sliver. It's spam. We don't want no spam. All right. So I'm pushing it in where that other tool was bigger. It wouldn't let me go in. This one will help me go into that slot a little bit deeper. And that's what you want. You really want to get it pushed up in there. I like to take just a little bit of brown after I go into my black, and I'll put it just right here to mix with that black, and it gives that same exact color almost as the natural deer eye. So once again, I'm just going to do a little bit of epoxy, just a little bit of the brown. Got to mix it. It's Friday. It's the day before gun season. It's going to get crazy around here. Crazy. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you. All right, I'm going to take just a little bit of this brown, put it right in the corner of this eye. I'm not going to put it all the way around the eye. I like it just in that corner. I hope you can see it. We'll see what this video looks like. That little bit of brown epoxy on top of that black right there in that corner is just going to make it look just a little bit better. And then just try to rake out your excess without taking too much out, because a lot of times you'll put all that in there and then you'll take it right back out and put it back in there. So just get your base. And what I do, and you can use water, you can use alcohol, you can use lacquer thinner, you can use a combination. I'm sure you could use acetone. I don't know how much people use, but I just like to get. I like to have a little bit of a stiffer brush. And I use all my brushes because all this stuff ruins all your brushes, so you got to keep buying new ones. But I kind of like something like that. And what I'll do is I'll just wet it just a little bit and kind of lock that into place, because that lacquer, I'm fixing to use the lacquer, and it's going to melt it more than it is. The water does something just a little bit different, but I go right back over it with the brush with that lacquer as soon as I put that water on it. And then I'm just trying to lock in my position. I'm just trying to make sure all that epoxy is getting down into those cracks like it's supposed to be. And if you've got a stiff brush, it kind of works really well. Not too stiff where you're like pulling it out, but you want to be able to move it. That liquid and the lacquer and the water gives you just enough movement to kind of get it pressed around and clean up your edges just a little bit more. And this stuff takes about, It takes about an hour for it all the way set up, but just after 5 or 10 minutes, you don't really want to work with it anymore. I mean, that just depends. Sometimes it's softer, sometimes it's harder, but once it loses that flexible consistency, you want to quit using it. And then I'll take a Q-tip and kind of just go around and just get my eye clean and try to start working this extra epoxy out and smoothing it all in. You got to be careful when it's wet because it'll want to pull it out if you're not careful a little bit easier. So just really get it dry, use that Q-tip, and you can see I still got way too much up here and here. So then I'm going to come back through and clean it out. It's kind of hard at this angle. I usually got it up high, eye level. I'll have to adjust. I could have move that up. I just didn't. I'm just trying this out real quick. And all this will be painted afterwards. This is just to make sure everything is smooth around the eye and that it has a good base to put your paint on. Alright, that'll kind of give you the gist of it. And then we'll take this extra epoxy sculpt. Man, we're already at 12 minutes, so we're going to cut it off here pretty quick. But we'll take this same brown and black that we're using, and I'll go in with that same modeling tool, and I'll fill this tear duct in. We'll do another one on that because we'll show you how we texture the tear ducts and how we fill it in. Alright, good luck to y'all.